Hello everyone and welcome to REBBL Analysis. This is match day 9. In this match day we're playing off in actually another elf game. So it's my Dark Elves versus some High Elves. The High Elves this season have been kicked around quite a lot. So they've only got a few players. We come off the back of not really taking an awful lot of damage. So our team's starting to gain a little bit of shape. In terms of position, we were doing alright. And we were looking to try and progress and cement third place, which is a playoff slot. We do need to win a couple of games on the bounce to do that. Let's have a quick look at the two teams, and we'll have a quick look at what the inducements are. So, our opponent has got a wizard. He's also got a babe, and he's also slightly more famous than us, which is a shame. Team-wise, we're still unfortunately running with 11 players, but in a change from last week, we are now only down to one loner. Our opponent also has only got 11 players, so much like the Wood Elf game where it was 11 and 11, but he's running with 4 loners. Sadly for us, we're missing the Strength 4 Mighty Blow player Chubstep, but we have now got Deathbell, a dodge, which is nice, and Ewa is sat on 41 points. We are running one Mighty Blow, which is better than the High Elves. So I think that if we can score quickly, then we could play a shootout type game, which is better for us because two things: one, we get more line of scrimmage hits, so we might be able to get some more usage out of the Mighty Blow, and two, we're all about trying to level up and develop the team. And we've also got a ball sacking player here, which he doesn't really have much of an answer to. So, for all of those reasons, it's well worth just sort of trying to score relatively quickly but safely. And you all, actually, let's add another one. And you don't want to be on defence for prolonged periods of time with a wizard, because that's where you lose the game. So let's see how I actually play this, because I can't remember. But that's what I should be doing. We should be going and trying and score relatively quickly, because that is the right thing to do. Okay, that looks insane, but actually she's got agility 5, so not totally terrible. And we were going for the reverse surf there, so I'll just pause that for a second, and we'll just highlight what we would have done. So agility 5 meant that was a 2+ dodge, because you're only dodging through one tackle zone, and we'd got this guy here and this guy here, so we'd have pushed into the square she's in now. With Frenzy she would have then got pushed again, and I can choose one of these squares, so you could choose this square, and at that point the lineman just pushes him out, and with a beer stand that's a straight injury roll, and on a 7+ that player is either KO'd, or on a 9+ that player's in it casualtied. And with only 11 players, it's a very good way of generating some sort of equity and doing some early damage. So he was a bit brave leaving that elf there, because it was, or there should I say, because it was surfable. So that's probably why we don't charge it on the field. So carry on. Okay, so this turn's now about trying to defend the Witch Elf. We've got Steep Zoid on 5 points, so if he picks the ball up and then runs back and throws it, actually that levels him up. This is something else that people don't seem to pay a lot of attention to, which is that actually, if you're an elf coach, if you can throw the ball every turn, and if you don't score until turn 8, that's 8 star player points. We only get 3 for scoring. That means the score is just a little Billy bonus rather than the actual overarching reason for doing it from a star player point perspective. So always try and throw the ball when you can. So. Now notice he's put 0 threat on the ball, so again, if I didn't, much like in the Wood Elf game, if I didn't want to go and score, I'm not under any obligation to go and do that. He's put no threat on the ball, so we'll just pause this. So look at this from a strategy point of view, not looking at it from a dice point of view. So strategy, this elf could throw back to that elf, and I could do that for as long as I like, really. So the wizard is helping the Wood Elves, sorry, the High Elves not at all. It's got no value at all in this turn. He stood this guy up so he can have, I can have a strength 4 hit, or I can have a block hit, depending on what I want to choose to do. And he's left me his tackle player to hit, or a loner, or a loner, or a non-skilled guy. Now our Mighty Blow Witch does have tackle, so you could make a very strong argument for trying to kill this one, because this is one of his most valuable players. Equally, if you're feeling really brave, he's also left him surfable, because if we could just bring this guy around, she could go blitz 1, 2, 3. Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then push into here, and he's gone. So there is a surf on there. All we need to do is put an assist in sort of this square here, and cancel this assist out, and he's gone. And in Blood Bowl 2, if you don't have dodge set to manual, then 3 out of the 6 sides of the dice actually help you, because you've got push, push, and defender stumbles, all meaning you can start generating pushes. So it's pretty big. I don't know what I actually do here, but I've just seen that as a surf. Not being punished from the last turn. Oh, don't go for the surf. Very disappointing. Don't generate any equity there. Don't think I saw it. Is that probably what's happened there? Because that absolutely would have been what I would have played for if I'd have spotted it. Disappointed in myself. But actually, that's the point of doing these things, isn't it? If you can see some things to make your own gameplay better, then you should take them. There we go. Scoring elves. Scoring threat elves. Looking at this, who would I want to score with? So, as an elf coach, you should always work out who you want to score with. I think the strength 4 elf would get my vote. The agility 5 elf. To be honest, the mighty blow elf doesn't hurt. And again, run the ball forward. Oh, would have liked to have seen a throw there. No pressure on the ball. It was a freestyle player point that could have happened. Not very happy with the way I'm playing this game, if I'm honest. Missed a surf, hasn't thrown the ball in turn 2. It's just an embarrassment. And I absolutely should have tried to score on turn 2 or turn 3. So, again, not really generating any value from the wizard, if we're honest, because looking at this, he's got no threat, so I don't have to do anything. And if you carry this forward for another 5 or 6 turns, what's going to happen if you play this strategy through is that on turn 8, I'm going to have a choice. I'm going to have to roll some dice to score, and either make them or I won't. And so at no point do you cause yourself a problem, which is that you're going to steal the ball off me and score. It's just a question of whether you're going to go into half 0-0 or 1-0. I think I've got a little bit trigger happy just blitzing with that witch elf and not looking at positioning. So, that's alright, but she's a little bit exposed. Well done, Robbo. Throws the ball. Now his danger player, which is this strength 4 leaping block tackle sidestep nonsense player. That's hard work. Oh, we score. Thank God for that. Well done, Andre. So, turn 3 we score. Alright. Gives us plenty of time to see if we can do something. His knocked out elf comes back, so it's 11 plays 11. So, for me, strategy wise here, I've gone for the line of scrimmage offset. So if we get a perfect defense, I can then own these 3 squares instead and potentially not get hit as much. I've gone for make the centre as strong as possible. That's like 6 players in the middle, and then I've just put my sort of least valuable players on the wings, because they're the ones you probably want to blitz. And then the final point of strategy is that the witch elf, who can surf stuff by being agility 5 and leap, is in the middle, so she can get all the way to either flank. So that's what we've gone for there. Let's see how he responds. while he sets up on a slipper tee. If I was the High Elf coach at this point, I would actually look at that and be relatively happy that my opponent scored quickly, because I would then go into 2-1 grind mode and see whether or not it's possible to just grind down the field and score on turn 8. Pick up the ball, score on turn 16, everyone's happy. So let's just do a quick analysis of the defensive situation. So before... Oh, is that going to go away? It's not, is it? Right, we're going to have to just remember this guy was here, okay? So let's have a quick look at the analysis of the situation. Not quite sure what's happening with that guy. Maybe he's taking instructions from the sideline. So let's just assume that he was late to the show. And put this guy back here. So imagine a blitz is rolled first of all. How would you deal with that? Well, with agility 5, this guy can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can't get to the ball, unfortunately, but we can put tackle zones on it. And this guy can get there as well, so I can have 2 players here. So blitz, this is not covered at all. That would be the person you get kicked out of the way. And with agility 5, you can just wander through. Perfect defence, that works for me. I've got 3 squares that I can stand in, and only one of them can be hit. So that's fine. And he's also straightened up the line of scrimmage, and instead of having these 3 at 1 square diagonal, so I'd have a person in this square and a person in this square, and I'd go block diagonally, and block diagonally, meaning that you get follow-on hits over here if you don't knock the players over, to try and maximise your armour break. So I'd say that this could be done in an improved way. I'm not trying to criticise my opponent, I'm just saying that there is a better way of doing stuff, and that the defensive setup probably isn't as strong from an anti-blitz perspective as it otherwise could be. This guy should be here, that guy being there is fine, and then this guy, I would actually like to see this guy here, or these 2 probably just there and there actually, and that would make things a lot safer, and we'd leave this guy as a sweeper, so you could probably put him over here, and that would be safer, or drag this guy down here, bring this guy in, and bring this guy here, so I've got to run round the screen if there's a blitz. So there we go, that's my thinking on that. Poor Robbo, if only he had block. So gets the knockdown on the scorer. Gets the knockdown there. Now these are likely to be knockdowns at 75% chance of each one being knocked over. I can't complain at that. It absolutely could have been a thing and was a thing. And then for me, strategy wise, because it doesn't look like he's going to push forward, so he is playing for the 2-1 grind. I think that what we want to do now is go and put some threat on the ball, while at the same time make it a little bit more difficult for him to get through. He's left a surfable elf, look, 1, 2, 3, blitz in here, 4, surf it off. So maybe this turn isn't all about going and putting some pressure on the ball. This turn is all about not surfing that elf. Unbelievable! I've got Witch Elf Mighty Blowness in my head, and I'm not going to stop, am I? And this guy's going to come and screen into here. I actually remember why I did that. So we've parked Diving Tackle and Strength 4 against this, on the basis that maybe next turn he leaves that elf there again, and we can try and do stuff. So there we go. That's a fairly solid screen. It's all right. If I was nitpicking, I'd probably rather have the agility 5 and this guy the other way around, just in case of that. Right, let's see what he does now. So he really is saying to us that he doesn't want to charge down the field and put any threat on the ball. What he wants to do is cage the ball up and not go score. He's going to throw the ball. Okay, now this is a bit of an interesting question for us. So there's two strategies we can take on here. The first is that I could leap in and I could have one dice on the ball, which I'd need a POW or a defender stumbles. Then I'd get into 2 dice uphill, because wherever he sidesteps I'm then playing against guard, and I've got no guard on this team at this time. So that's not a great strategy. It's possible, but it's not a great strategy. The other way of doing it is knock out one of these 2 front pins here, and then go and park the diving tackle against it, and then press into the cage. Now, ordinarily pressing into a cage isn't a great idea, but because the elves are so hemmed in, actually pressing into the cage here isn't a bad idea. He's done a good thing with these 2 elves, because these then are stopping me going and wedging players into these sort of cracks here. But absolutely knocking out one of these front 2 and going and sticking the diving tackle in there probably is the right thing to do. The only other thing to do is potentially take the Mighty Blow Elf and go and take on this Blitzer here, because it's one of the 2 players with tackle. If we can delete the 2 players with tackle, he's got a massive problem. So that's point A, or point B, and this is point A. And I personally, looking at this situation again, would rather see me go and take out one of the top front 2. But I genuinely can't remember which way around we go. So, see, pressure. This is me been putting some pressure on. And obviously not choosing to go with the crazy pressure. I already know now that is the blitz. That is absolutely what the blitz is going to be. So this is me trying to put some pressure on, make him roll some dice, and try and what I'm trying to do here is overload a couple of the players so he can't just get them out. So he's got to dodge them away, and by dodging them away, well, got paid for that one. By making him dodge them away, what we're doing is, sorry, by overloading him, it means he's got to dodge them away. He can't. Oh, that was actually an interesting move. That was actually quite important. He can't fight them, so that player's overloaded with 3 players on it. That one also got 3. That one's got 2. Both have got blodge, and that one, well, that's alright. It's 1 for 1, but it's a loner. So do you care? Not really. So that's why I'm going to then make him pick his cage up and go someplace else. And one of them's attached to diving tackle, and importantly, all of these players don't have dodge, so there's a chance of failure. And if he wants to build a cage, I'm making him use these 4 players next turn, because safely you can only move those 4 around. Last thing I said earlier was that this move was interesting, and the reason that was important was because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 go for it now to throw a blitz. Leave this guy here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whack. So the Witch Elf was then open to being punched in the head by the tackle. Now at least he's going to make it go for it, which makes it a little bit less appealing. So right, he's gone for the blitz. We'll see how he then creates the rest of the cage. Ooh. So all those dodges now are now without a reroll. Can't throw the punch there, really. That was quite important. Yeah, so he chose not to throw the punch there. Important, because if he'd have thrown the punch, we would have then been able to sidestep into this square. So, go for more pressure. The more dodge and blodge you can put into his players, the better. Obviously, we don't want him running forward, so trying to screen off and cover. And it looks like we're going to apply the Mighty Blow again and see what happens. And this is just, again, push loads of players into just a few. The Elves have to back off. If you push all 11 into all 11, a lot of the time they just go, yeah, whatever. And it's not a problem. Armor break's helpful. So, now we've got the blitz. Lucky with the armor break there. We've had a fair few of those. And then it's just queuing up a Mighty Blow blitz. Mighty Blow block for next turn. And you may as well push her into there because she's not doing anything there, and he isn't going to throw 2 dice uphill. Oh, I remember how this plays out now. Now, this has come about in a lot of ways because... Ooh! Naughty. So, I think he's unlucky with that fireball. So let's just see that again. He's fireballed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. He's knocked down 3 out of 5. Sorry, yeah, 3 out of 5. Let me get the 10 marker to go away. And broken armor on 2, but didn't get a removal on either. He's dead, Jim. Right, so he's now playing with 10. Now, at this point, there are 2 different ways you can approach the rest of this turn. The first is this guy stood up? Yes, he is. So, you can 1 dice blitz this by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blitz. Which on a 5+ doesn't seem insane. Or you can chain push people through, not use the blitz at all. But these two have both got sidesteps, so they're not really surfable. And you can take your blocks. Really, you want to get the diving tackle in and amongst this. So I don't think blocking here is a good idea. I think he needs to come around, and I think probably blitzing this, the front one, the strength 4 leapy elf, because if you can tie him down, you tie down a lot of them. So let's see how we play this through. And placing the strength 4 on the edge here is quite important because it's more difficult to get past. And this turn, we only need to hold him back for a turn, because after that, the agility 5 witch elf gets back into play. Okay, so we're going for the 1 dice on the ball. 3 rerolls. It's not insane. Push, push. You get the POW, which makes that guard, makes it a bit more difficult for that guard to get anywhere. So let's just consider that for a second. Now he's in a lot of trouble. Probably the best way out of this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just go and stand over here somewhere, and then dodge backwards from diving tackle. Ooh. Run around and throw it. Other options on the table are all rubbish, to be honest. I think that's the play because you haven't got any other tackle anywhere, so you can't reliably do something about the diving tackle. So I think that's the play. I think you've got to dodge away from diving tackle. See what he does. Go for it so far. Good. It's the right thing to do. And a double go for it just to try and range me out of the way. So we rolled a 1 on the first dodge. He'll then re-roll this. And he was unlucky with that, so it's 75% of the time that works. So he's unlucky there. Now, the first thing you need to do if you're in this situation is just take a moment and breathe, because you know you're in, but you know you need to just take a moment and deal with it. Don't rush. Don't do that. Oh no. Second action, let's use a loner to block with. Don't do that. That was lucky. I must say, watching this again, not entirely impressed with my own performance. That was out of sequence. He should have been stood up beforehand. At least that's sensible. So that is, if when we dodge away do we roll a double one, at least there's players in the right place to deal with it. That's what that's for as well. That's just to make the Witch Elf more difficult to deal with. So lots of tackle zones if you fall over. Luckily for me, he doesn't. Well, Neil's gone. And then Andre, who scored in the first touchdown, has been passed the ball again to score again. Two and a half. Certainly lots for me to ponder. All 4 KOs come back. Boom. And I think he does have a babe, doesn't he? Let's have a look. Yeah, he does have a babe. That's that one there. So that's not entirely unlikely. And he's down to 10 and we're still at 11. So, right. Now, if you're the high elf coach now, you know you need to just charge down the field and score. Don't mess around, just go score. So, best way to do that is hold the ball on the thrower somewhere about where he is now, punch a hole through here, and then screen it with an elf, with a couple of elves, and just have the ball on the strength 4. That's probably the best way of doing it. So this time, not taking the follow-on blocks is hurting him, so no on break on that one. Oh, it's turn 8, never mind. In that case, I think I'd have liked to have seen a one-turn touchdown. Okay, so half time. A one-turner was potential. Did have some potential. There we go. That's better. My little logo is in the wrong place. That's no good. So back to the offset line of scrimmage for the same reason. Offset's generally better. Cheering fans, he gets a 4-3 roll. So definitely we'd like to see him run through him and try and score. Knockdown. No armor break, and again no follow-on hits because we're not punching diagonally, we're punching straight forward. That throw's had a terrible game. Got it. Oh, and he's dropped it. So, pause. Oh, it's going to flash at that fucking banner, isn't it? Yep. Right, so we know where he is. So, this is about square counting, plain and simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I could get the diving tackle in that square there, that would be really effective. So that almost dictates that that has got to be the blitz. This guy's agility 5. He's dodging through on 2, so that's fine. So for me, the right thing to do would actually be blitz first, because then you see what board you've got to work with, and then start tagging out some of these elves on a 1-for-1 basis. And if you can put the thrower under a bit of duress, you might actually be able to do alright here. I don't think we can get the ball. Maybe you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I might consider that at 3+, 3+ dodge and a 3+ pickup. It's not insane. His tackle is there and there, so you can't put it out of range, but you can make him run backwards. So I think that's how I do this. That's the guy to go and pick the ball up. I think that was the wrong play. Yeah, that was the wrong play. Still, at least for the wrong play, at least that's consistent for this game. So this is trying to get this guy out of the range. Because the reason that's no good is because if the diving tackle was actually in that square, we'd be doing really well. I think he could have also been over here somewhere. So he gets the knockdown, which was also likely to happen, but imagine the diving tackle being on these two. You're really putting them under a lot of pressure then. And that's not a point of dice, that's a point of strategy. So, forming up a cage. All fine. And this elf has dodged off. Go and tag that out just because make it do stuff. And I think I'd like to see that taken out this turn. And the diving tackle placed in that cage corner. So that is 2 dice, and then if I get a push, it's into 2 more dice because I've got 2 assists there. Mighty blow. On this occasion, for once, it doesn't work, because I think I've had good armor dice so far. By standing in this square, what I've done is it means I can actually pretty much automatically sidestep into this square. If I'd have stood in this square, he steps someone forward, and he squeezes me out. And then I just go and fucking stand it anyway. Oh my god. Please join us in week 10 when Andy stops playing like a not very good player. Okay, so he's used his reroll, and then he throws the ball in a tackle zone. Sorry, not in a tackle zone, to a player in a tackle zone, and he dodges him free. Now, that was an interesting solution, and you could argue the handoff was nice because it then means he's only that's just a 2+ catch, and I hadn't considered that. So it's an interesting way of solving that problem, but the player is now basically, well, he's not basically, he's all alone, and he should be takedownable. The problem is he's strength 4, so we've got to be careful how we approach this. Is he tagged still? No. I get lucky there, roll a pow. Now I have spotted that this guy's agility 5, so can pick the ball up yeah, in a tackle zone fine. Now this would have been 2 dice into 1 dice. You step there, or you step behind, and that is 2 into 1. It's a little bit gambly. I think that's more risk than I needed to take, if I'm honest. Ever picking the ball up. She can throw it there and I can hand it off. That was 2s into 2s. We can dodge away and hand it off. And he can score. That was alright. Could have probably done that a bit better. The blitzer that was side onto the strength 4 could have been 1 square above or below, and the loner could have been then in the other player, so it doesn't matter where he sidesteps to. We could have made that to 2 into 2, so could have done that better as well. At least the strength 4 stayed out. So it's now 11 versus 9, and he's going to start to struggle at this point. I think the best thing to do is just to plough forward now. Both teams get a reroll. Good. So this, see how now a perfect defence, if I could have stood them there, no hits at all on the line of scrimmage. See how the difference is that I'm trying to stack the odds, oh dear, in my favour if the dice rolls come up for me. Using tackle. This guy's going to step forward, so it's almost certainly got to be the blitz. Thrower has actually picked the ball up. Well done, thrower. Farming star player points, nice. As a point of just strategy, just for a second, if you know you're going to throw the ball and he's got accurate, you could throw the ball from 6 squares back here. So a double 1 from the thrower, the ball actually ends up on the floor over here rather than on the floor round the player. So I would have liked to have seen him pick the ball up and just go bang and throw the ball way back here, because the risk is removed dramatically. So there's something you could do differently there. That has confused everyone, including the Elves' friends. I don't know what was going on there. So. Right, now he has left the ball in a relatively exposed spot. So we'll just pause this for a second, and we'll go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blitz. So on a 3+ with a reroll, bearing in mind I got 4 and it's only 5 turns left, I could punch that with 2 dice and maybe put it on the floor. All I need to do is just start to cover this elf off a little bit, so we can dodge into here, and then we can bring these elves across, step this one forward, or even just stand him here, so if there's a thrown ball he's an intercept. But I think I'd take that on, because if you get the ball on the floor with the agility 5 witch elf, she can be quite a threat. So I think that's how I would play this. Let's see what happens. He should have been there. That's no good, because if the ball then goes on the floor, I haven't got anyone to recover it. So if I take on the blitz, which I do, and fail, then What's my ball recovery? My ball recovery is almost none. So that was really not very good. Not very good at all. And he's not in the right place to perform a interception. Who he intercepts on a 4+, by the way. Imagine him being stood in that square there. Just there, look. Just there. So, there we go, he scored. Mostly my fault, I'd say. And the strength 4 elf is back. So, we have 4 turns. And I'd look at this now and say, well, I've got 4 turns, it's 10 plays 10, take the ball, run up the field and score in 2 turns, and that would then put the scoreline at 4-1. At 4-1, maybe you make it 5-1, maybe you make it 4-2. Doesn't matter, the game's done. What you don't want to do is concede, but absolutely charge down the field and score quickly. You'll see I've got 5 guys playing off against his front 3. Where's the ball gone? Down here. Okay, so the ball's completely safe. Bit of backspin on the ball, that's nice. Right, first thing, go and put some players in scoring range. And what we're looking to try and do is just see if we can sort of mush through. Robbo's on 26 points, he can throw the ball. There we go. That's a 2+ into a 2+. He can run away. Hand the ball off to Eva. Eva can then step forward. And the strength 4 bothery elf is over here, so this is basically safe. So I can live with that. Diving tackle is trying to form a roll and form a screen there, so that's alright. And it's just to protect the mighty blow elf, so that's alright. We should be relatively safe here, unless of course you want to do 5+ into 5+, 4+ really. Looks like he wants to take it on. Oh no. I thought he was going to dodge into that screen, that cage there. Now remember, the player holding the ball is agility 5 with leap. So it's not that difficult to get out of this. Finally we do some safe moves first, so bring the agility 5 elf up, that's good. Move the guarder out of the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blitz. Two dice. It's a shame. It should be a case of just dodging through. So 4-1. Right, so 5-1 is on the table, or 4-2, but the game's done. And this is one, if you go back to the beginning of the video, I said that where you can actually look to try and go for a quick shootout type score to generate a lot of star player points. You know, we've scored 4 touchdowns, we've definitely passed the ball 3 or 4 times, and we've generated a nice chunk of star player points for the team. In a game where you could have just played the 2-1 grind, but actually in this game going for it was the right thing to do. If you're playing against bashy orcs or dwarves or chaos, maybe not go for a shootout, but in a game where the other elf team doesn't have lots of kill skills, playing for the shootout does seem like a good idea. So let's see what he does. I have pushed the strength 5. Oh, interesting. I have pushed the strength 5 forward. Because strength 5, the strength 4 elf, because if we can get a little bit of distance, maybe he can score, because he badly needs another skill, like, I don't know, guard or something. Block, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? So, now this was the first time I think I liked what the High Elves have done there, is they've taken 2 players that are difficult to deal with, push them forward and put them into 2 different squares on the field. By doing that, I can't really stop both of them really easily. So, good piece of play there from the High Elves. Throws pick the ball up. That throws far too far forward. And again, he's thrown it. Now, yes, the thrower hasn't rolled the 1, but the guy holding the ball has. Where's he going to go? He's going to go backwards. So strategy-wise, may as well stand up the line elves, which have no real value. And then you may as well try and blitz this down. I think this elf can get the witch elf 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so ever the witch elf can actually get through, and I suspect so therefore can Deathbell. So this is on. This is absolutely on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this is on this. So send Deathbell through. Okay, so I've just gone for the 1 dice with Deathbell. It's a skull, we don't want that. That is still a skull. So 75% of the time you knock the ball over there. 24% of the time you don't do anything there. And 1% of the time you knock yourself over there. Welcome to the world of 1%. And what that's also going to do is, instead of being 5-1 or having any chance of stopping him, he really should score now. The good news is though, we're going to have 2 turns to try and score back. So if he scores this turn, we can make this 5-2. Nicely done. He scores. So 4-2. Both elf coaches are relatively okay with this, I think. See, Dark Elves slightly more. He scores between the posts. That was for the conversions. There we go. Right, so we've got 2 turns. Can we run the field and score again? History has said yes. Sadly not. So that is basically the game. I'll let this turn play through. It's not important now. Taking some things away from the game. Well, first of all, looking at my side, good God, there's a number of mistakes I need to go away and work on. Really need to sort my life out there. The second thing is that we did generate a lot of star player points, so I'm pleased about that. but not carefully. If I was the high elf coach, I think I could take away some of the relatively straightforward things to fix, like taking some blocking on the diagonals for the line of scrimmage, for thinking about when I've got a wizard, putting some pressure on the ball, and applying useful pressure there. And I think that would have a big impact on the way that the game's played. And I'd also consider the way that the Strength 4 Leapy Elf is used, that in the same way that I tried to keep the Witch Elf, for me the Agility 5 central, having this elf in this sort of territory here, threatening the whole board, is the right thing to do. So, it's an interesting game to rewatch actually. I hadn't realised I'd made so many mistakes. You'd think winning 4-2 you'd played really well, but actually, you play very well at all, I don't think. So, now let's have a quick look at the dice rolls. So, statistics wise, we threw 38 blocks, he threw 34. With those 38 blocks, we did 13 armor breaks, so that's 6. That's skewed slightly because the Mighty Blow Witch Elf did throw a lot of the blitzes, so that's probably why that's slightly higher. We got 6 KOs in an injury and a kill. He got nothing, so I think he's behind the curve on that. We're probably ahead of the curve, I would say, I would guess. And then from a throwing point of view, not only did he score 4 touchdowns, I threw 6 passes and he threw 8 passes, so 14 throws in a 16 turn game is pretty good going. Star player points wise, we've got 10 there, we've got another 21, 22, 25, so decent star player point haul for me. And then he's picked up a fair chunk of star player points as well, so even losing the 8 passes and 2 touchdowns has really helped him, so that's gone alright. So, right, last thing for me to remain then is to say thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the content and you really are enjoying the replay analysis videos, please leave a like and subscribe. The likes actually really do help, so they'd be really cool. And this was Andy Davo, you've been the viewer, it's been fantastic, thanks very much.